Something that I've been thinking about recently that I think is super interesting kind of comes from this idea of programs, church programs, and do the families support the church programs or do the programs support the families? And how I think sometimes people join the church for social reasons, and sometimes people join the church for spiritual reasons. And oftentimes it's a combination of both. And how there's a lot of faiths and religions that do not offer programs, and for the most part it seems like it's on purpose, because a lot of religions are organized enough that they could have programs and they just choose not to. So for example, if you want to become a part of the Jewish religion, there's not a lot of programs, social programs, to entice you. Same thing with the Muslim faith, Hindu, like Sikh. There's a lot of religions that are lighter on programs than the LDS faith. Christians in general tend to have programs, at least some. Like even a Sunday school is considered a program, and oftentimes there's food drives to get involved in, or study groups, Bible study stuff, whatever, youth groups. And the LDS restored faith has definitely developed programs over the years. You could talk about the missionary program, very old program, the Relief Society program organization, very old, and then more recent ones, like the Young Men's, the Boy Scout type stuff. The even something like For the Strength of Youth could be considered a program. And I think when someone starts to learn about the restored church, they see the programs and it's very enticing, very interesting, very helpful. And I don't think the programs are a bad thing. I do think that it is wise to help people understand that we're not a religion of programs. We're not a faith of programs. And the reason I was thinking about this is because we're still baptizing a lot of people in this area, and I do see people that come in with a lot of faith, and they're also wrapped in the love of friends, and it's nice to have programs to help kind of move along the covenant path. But I think about the pioneers of Joseph Smith's time, the early missionaries, and how the missionaries would be going door to door, neighborhood to neighborhood, street corner to street corner, and they would be offering the Book of Mormon. And that's it. There really was nothing else to entice you. I mean, I guess if you had a strong sense of adventure, maybe the migrating part of it might be interesting or something, but that's not really a program. It would be more like, here's a Book of Mormon, pray to know if it's true. If it's true, we'll probably ask you to move your entire family across the globe. So it's a completely different mindset. Okay, then fast forward, 50 years, they're in Utah, still kind of the same situation, where there's beginning to be a social support network, but those who are converting are moving to Utah. They don't really know what they're getting into. They don't know if they're going to move over there and all of a sudden they realize, oh wow, these people are nuts. And then fast forward another 50 years, like in the early 1900s, you've got programs that are now starting to develop. Like the church is starting to develop into its own society that has something to offer that people look at and are like, oh, I want to be a part of that. Fast forward another 50 years, now you're in, mid to late 1900s, and people are looking at the church and thinking, wow, that group has a lot to offer. And if you're not careful, you don't even need the Book of Mormon to convince yourself that you want to be a part of the group. Fast forward another 50 years would be more or less today. And you hear people talk about it all the time. The social benefits, the health benefits, the financial benefits, the friends, the resources, the community, like all this different stuff. And again, if you're not careful, you wouldn't even need the Book of Mormon or a testimony of the restoration to say, wow, this is a great idea. And a lot of the apologists and missionaries kind of point that out. They say there's lots of really good temporal reasons to join the church, but that's not why we're here. We're here because we believe, and we extend to you the invitation to pray, find your own testimony. And so I think we do a good job of maintaining that, which is the right thing to maintain. It's just interesting to me to think about where we would be if we had no programs. What would we offer our neighbors if we had no programs? What if I invited my neighbor to church and he goes and there's really no structure, there's no program, there's no announcements, there's no dinners coming up, there's no like helping serve people, there's no ministering assignments. Like it's really just a bunch of people haphazardly trying to be saints like they were back in the early days. Would the restoration be enough to help people find the truth, or would we really need these programs for them to be like, okay, I guess this is worth considering. Oh wow, it actually is true. This is amazing. It's going to change my life. So yeah, super interesting thing to think about in my opinion. It helps me understand the importance of offering people the truth and having the programs, or everything else in the church, basically be the bonus feature to a stronger relationship with Christ. Where sometimes I feel like it's the other way around, where sometimes I'll meet people and they tell me their story, and their story basically goes like, yeah, I didn't know it was true, but I knew it was good. And so I joined the church, and lo and behold, what do you know? 5 years later, I have this testimony that it's absolutely true. Book of Mormon is true. And I think that that's great. That's fine. It'd be nice if we could turn that around. And I've seen that happen. And it's beautiful, where people who are truly seeking the truth find the truth, join the church, and then they realize, wow, this organization, this restored church, really has their stuff together and is really organized, really on top of things, the programs, the unity, the leadership, like everything is really dialed in, which would make sense because I already know that Christ is here doing his work. So it's my thought.